What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Other Side of the Firewall podcast, where we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers. It's people of color who've made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. I'm Shannon Tynes. I'll be hosting today, and I'm here with Chris Abacon. Chris, what's going on, man?
What's going on, guys? Glad to be back.
Awesome. So we're down to two again, right? So Daniel and Ryan couldn't make it this week, but we're gonna make it happen. We're gonna
That's right.
We're gonna make this show roll. You know what I mean? But all right, everybody, look. Let's go ahead and jump right into it, right? I know Ryan always has a lot of stuff to say and whatnot, but I'm trying to get to the meat here. You know what I'm saying? Let's make it happen. So this first article actually comes from thehackernews.com, and it's written by Mohit Kumar. And the title of this one is "Wanted Russian Hacker Linked to Hive and LockBit Ransomware Arrested." So Mikhail Pavlovich Matveev has been arrested, right? And this is somebody it's been on America's radar for a couple of years now, right? So he's a Russian cyber criminal. It's one of the United States in connection with LockBit and Hive ransomware operations, right? This is something we've been dealing with for years, right? So there was a news report from the Russian media outlet RIA Novosti, that Mikhail Pavlovich Matveev has been accused of developing a malicious program designed to encrypt files and seek ransom in return for a decryption key, right? So again, kind of typical for the ransomware stuff that we see, right? But they finally did something about it, right? And I think the reason for this was because he had been out there and he had been talking, and he was saying that as long as he remained loyal to Russia, he thought he was going to be fine, right? Which kind of made it seem like this was kind of Russian backed, right? Like Russia had no problem with it going out and doing what he was doing, which is definitely not the case, right? So, well, let me not say definitely not the case. Let me say this. That may have been the case, right? But Russia is to a point right now where maybe they're like, maybe we should play it a little bit cooler now. Like, we don't know what's about to happen coming up here. But yeah, he was very comfortable. Like, he was going out on websites saying, hey, look, I'm fine as long as I'm loyal to Russia, right? So, but this guy's he's been working as an affiliate for lots of groups, right? Conti,
Right.
Hive, Trigonia, No Escape ransomware groups. So like, he's kind of been all over the place, right? So, and even though he's somebody that we've gone after, like, he's somebody that he's been wanted for a few years, right? But he's when we say REvil, we've talked about REvil a few times here, right? And he's one of the ones. 4 members of REvil got hit up a little over a month ago, I think it was. It was
right.
4 members that got caught up. So they got several years in prison in Russia, right? So they got convicted of hacking and money laundering charges. And it looks like this guy might be going down the same road, right? So whether it be that Russia is trying to put forth a face here and say, no, we had nothing to do with this or whatever, like, we don't know. But he might be looking at some serious jail time now. But Chris, what's your thoughts on this?
Really, with this one, I think he got a little bit too close to the sun, right? And it came strictly out of arrogance. Yes, at some point in time, he was seen as a key resource to conduct cyber attacks, maybe on behalf of the Russian government, right? We don't know. But this guy, he played really as almost like a managerial role in a lot of these groups. He's leading a lot of these groups, probably training a set of groups and Russian personnel that can conduct these at a high level. Clearly, this guy is very good at what he does. I mean, having worked with as an affiliate for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a bunch of ransomware groups, right?
The $10 million bounty on his head.
Yeah, $10 million bounty.
Yeah.
Which that should show you like the effectiveness of sanctions. Obviously, he was sanctioned, and he's got a $10 million bounty on him. At some point in time, the Russian government said, maybe it's probably a good idea to take this guy out. Perhaps he was harming not just, the adversaries of Russia, but it could have been maybe their allies. Maybe they tried to get into China, or, Iran, right? So there's that as well. Maybe he angered the wrong people. That's kind of all just assumptions at that point, right? But he got too close to the sun. That's really my 2 cents there. But then really it goes to show you there's a potential shift in the process or how Russia is looking at their cyber criminals, right? Maybe they're trying to be more legit in their operations. Hey, we're going to be like NSA or whatever, CIA, whatever we got here in the US, and trying to run more legit controlled operations versus just, hey, here's protected guys, protected pirates, like mercenaries for hire. I think that's kind of how he saw himself. But there are challenges, right? Specifically with the international piece of this. Again, I said earlier is that he may have provided ransomware to the wrong company, to an ally nation, right? Or he's implicating or affecting some European nations that, may be in cahoots with Russia, right? Or sympathizers, right? So again, it's a very complex web of, ifs and what's here, but I can only speculate at this point. But you got to understand, right? Like where Russia is in the war at this state, right? I don't know if Russia and Ukraine are going to be wrapping up here the next few months here with new administration in the U.S. But there's that to consider as well. What is Russia trying to message here? And what are their goals, right? So those are my 2 cents.
So let me ask you this, because this is what I thought, right? Like they had to know at some point, like the bird was going to get out of the cage, right? Like,
yeah.
If this guy was sanctioned by them, they had to have that plan. Like the ultimate thing that could have happened would have been, okay, he's going to get out of control. He's going to do something we don't, right? Like it's like robots turning on you that are supposed to work for you, right? But so here's my question, right? So you see how it happens to where you have all these gangs that we attribute to Russia, right? With everything that they do that's state-sponsored and the abilities that we know they have, the stuff they've done before they went into Ukraine, Crimea, like all of these different things, do we not think that they were following this guy this whole time and they knew what was going on, and now it just, like, if it doesn't serve their purpose, this is what they do? Like, are we thinking that's the case, or do we think this guy was just in Russia doing his own thing, doing whatever? Because like we see where we in America, like if we really want somebody, like we go out and we get them.
Yeah.
Right? Are we saying Russia doesn't have that capability?
Yeah, that's, it's probably true. I bet you Russia already knew where he was the entire time, obviously. And it's kind of like that useful idiot maybe thing, where it's like, hey, we got all we could out of him. Now he's trained and worked with all these groups that probably have affiliations with the Russian government. So they're like, oh, I know everything he knows. Spy, right? Maybe they absorbed all of his knowledge and they said it was enough, right? So it's just really interesting, really, from the industry perspective, and like what do you think can we do? What are our big takeaways from this type of thing, from your perspective?
That they know this is happening. Like here, and I think we already know this, right? So I don't think it's a really big takeaway. Like as I was reading the article, I was like, they had to know where this guy was, right? They knew what he was doing. He was definitely state sponsored. You know what I mean? With that was going on. And just like the ones from Revel, right? I think it's one of those things where, because almost always they're in those foreign countries, right? Like they're doing that stuff out of those countries. I think they were just like, you no longer serve a purpose. Or it could be like you were saying, right? Like maybe they're trying to curry favor with the administration, right? Because that could be a thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. At this point, we'll just see. And I think what governments now need to do, at least, the public-private partnerships that we're doing with CISA, right? I think CISA is doing a great job of trying to communicate with private organizations and, how they can strengthen their infrastructure at various levels of government or private industry. I think other countries, right, that are looking to increase their posture should perhaps do something of the same as CISA. Yeah, hopefully they have, right? So that's kind of my sense there.
Yeah, we're going to see, right? And the thing is, they don't take a lot of time before you go on trial, go to jail, do all of that stuff. Like it's not like the American justice system where you could be sitting there for 4, 5, 6.
They lock you up.
Yeah, they lock you up quickly, right? You're going to court quick. You're going to jail quick. So
right.
We'll see sooner than later, right? Like he might be joining his Revel buddies. The 4. We'll see. But no, really, really good article. I think we hit all the high points there. We went into a pretty good discussion on that on what's going on. So let's go ahead and land this plane, man, as Ryan would say, right? Even though you're not here, Ryan, you're still here in our hearts.
Exactly.
Check out all the websites that go by the podcast name, the other side of the firewall, the other side of the FW, right? Ask a CISSP or ramcyber.io. You can find Ryan on about all of the social media platforms out there. Daniel, you can find on LinkedIn under his name, Daniel Acevedo. Where can they find you, Chris?
You can find me on LinkedIn under my name, Chris Abacon. Last name is spelled A-B.
I love it. All right, everybody. Stay safe, stay secure.